So the basic problem in terms of the unfairness of our system, and this is an unfairness that applies in pretty much any election, is that the groups that are discriminated against are groups of people who are not large enough to form a majority overall, nor are they concentrated enough that they can form a majority in a small part of the territory. And that such a group is inevitably going to be underrepresented under our electoral system. So there's a basic problem in our system with small groups that are underrepresented. As a general rule, since you have to come in first in a district, if you're a small group, you're going to be underrepresented. This is especially true of small groups that are not concentrated in a particular region. The classic example are Greens or environmentalists, who tend to be in different parts of the country, or the province in this case, who may represent 5 or 10% of the voters, but are very unlikely to be able to win a seat.
Some people believe that the Liberal Party of Quebec takes the Anglophone population for granted because they have such a large support in different ridings. Like I know that in Westmount they've had 82% support. So even if they disregard the political wishes of the Anglophone base in Western Montreal and Western Quebec, they know they're going to win these ridings hands down anyway. So it's sort of a form of disenfranchisement. The Liberals have a support from a group that they feel are a captive sort of electorate. What do you feel about that?
Well, the way I would put it is that the Liberals gain nothing by seeking extra Anglophone votes. So to appeal to the Anglophones, let's say on their language policies or any other policies, is wasted. It's totally useless effort. But there are many marginal ridings where Francophones dominate, and if they have their policies oriented toward the desires of Francophones in those ridings, that can pay off in terms of seats. So the natural inclination, simply in terms of cost effectiveness, is to tailor their program to appeal to the Francophones in those ridings. It's a natural reality, has nothing necessarily to do with their views. Parties are vote maximizing or seat maximizing. In our system, they are seat maximizing machines. In a proportional system, they are vote maximizing machines, and every vote, whether it's English speaking or French speaking, counts equally, which is not the case under our system.
So then the swing ridings are really the important ones, and that completely changes the importance of different aspects of social policy, of all government policy, in other words.
Precisely, and the swing groups in those swing ridings. So, and that's the nature of our system, and that applies not just in Quebec, but everywhere else.
Okay. Do you have an idea of what types of policies would most be affected? Say if we were to change the electoral system to an alternative system such as the German model or a single transferable vote like the one for which there was a referendum in BC. If we had a more proportional system of those natures, what aspects of politics in Quebec would change most?
Well, I won't say much about STV, which is fairly complicated, but a proportional system, as in Germany or Scandinavia, where basically votes are transformed into seats on the basis of proportionality. So above a certain threshold, if you get 5% of the seats of the vote, you get 5% of the seats, and if you get 20%, you get 20%. The effect, I would argue, is that politics is much more a reflection of the priorities of the population. Parties, programs reflect the realities of the overall population rather than the targeted groups in the marginal districts that parties are trying to attract. The crucial logic is every vote is equal. It could be a vote, the person may be the only supporter of your party in a particular riding, but that vote counts just as much as the one vote that may make a difference between winning and losing a riding under our system. And so parties can be much more explicit in terms of their goals, in terms of what they seek. So I would argue it helps also in terms of transparencies. Under our system, parties are motivated to deliver different messages, to try to appear to be one thing in a certain area, especially in a country like Canada or even Quebec, where the regions are quite disparate. And therefore you have a clearer message. And I think that in terms of, from the point of view of the voters, it makes it easier to decide, to learn what's going on, and to place themselves in the context of the choice that lies ahead of them.